Welcome to the Ohio Adult Allies Podcast Season 2, where we are developing, inspiring, and empowering youth leaders. In this episode, we discuss building from the ground up, sharing challenges, success, and adaptations.
Hello, hello, hello. I am Raylette Johnson, CEO with Charlene and Associates and TTJ Group LLC. And guess what? I am so honored to guest host this episode of the Ohio Adult Allies podcast, featuring Cameron Foster from the Addiction Services Council of the Cincinnati area and Charlene Moore from the Urban Underground in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Let's introduce our guest today. Cameron Foster, please provide me with your name, organization, and experience in working with youth.
My name is Cameron Foster, Addiction Services Council here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Been working with youth over 28 years of different programs around the city in different agencies. One of the groups I work with when I was working with UMADOT was the Aim and High Youth Program. And also here at the Addiction Services Council, we had a Teen Institute Youth Program held in the Cincinnati Public Schools.
Great, thank you, Mr. Foster. And Charlene Moore, please tell us your name, organization, experience in working with youth, please.
Thank you all so much. I'm so honored to be with you all today. Charlene Moore with Urban Underground, which is a youth leadership and social justice organization here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've been working with young people now probably for about 25 years, or I'm sure a little bit over that. Ever since I was a young person, I was working with my peers. And so my span goes way back on just youth advocacy and youth development. Again, thank you all so much for having me.
Thank you, Charlene. As you all can see, we have two wonderful guests. So today's session is all about building from the ground up, sharing challenges and successes, as well as adaptations for communities of color. So I hope hearing from Cameron and Charlene today will support our listeners as they strategize on how to create spaces for young people that are diverse, equitable, and inclusive. So let's get right to it. First question, what are some challenges and struggles with developing and modifying the Ohio Adult Allies material for impacted communities of color? Charlene, would you like to answer that, please?
Sure. I'll chime in with that question. I think what was interesting about this process is that I was sort of an individual coming from the outside. And so there were other participants that had experience in it. So there was a sort of slight learning curve, which I think was a great part of the process. It wasn't just about participants, adults that have participated in this, but getting some outside perspective as well. So probably some of the challenges were probably just learning about the process, learning about the model, understanding the framework and how it works, and as well the goals of what the Adult Allies was looking to do or even has done. And this notion of working with the African-American community and really tailoring this model to make sure that it was inclusive of that.
Mr. Foster, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, and I agree with Charlotte. I mean, just learning styles. One of the things were challenges because we all bring in different experiences and things of that nature. I think we had to look at the learning style of each group in taking that model and helping our African-American youth or adults learn the model and looking at the challenges that they may have. Some may be new to the computer, looking at those type things, but just looking at taking all that experience that we had and kind of funneling it down so we could all work together to complete the goal. I think that was really a good exercise because we all have, like Charlene has 25, we have people with 20 and plus years, and they've learned this model. Okay, and some people say, well, this is how the model is, and you don't want to lose the fidelity of the model just because you want to adapt it to fit a certain group of people. So that was really a good challenge, but just made it fun as well, because it made you look at yourself. Okay, well, am I so rigid in this area that because we can learn something and don't want to adapt it. You know what I'm saying? So to take that and adapt it was really, really worthwhile.
And Raylette,
yes.
Before you go on to the next question, I just wanted to, I think Cameron, brought up a really interesting point too around the challenges, was converting this model to an online platform. That was one of the things, because when you're doing something in person, it's a whole different vibe. It's a whole different feel, right? So converting something like this into an online model definitely, I think, put our, our hats on to really come up with creative ways where we're making sure that we're giving the authenticity to the materials and, again, converting it to a platform that's easily accessible for different users.
So well said, so well said. So we talked about the challenges, you all, and the struggles. So what were some of the successes with developing and modifying the Ohio Adult Allies materials for impacted communities of color?
So I think, again, with the amount of knowledge that we had in the room, having individuals that were a part of the process, for me, I think was critical, because there were some things that I would relay back to, participants such as Cameron and Dr. Marquita, like other participants that were on, to be like, well, how did it work when you all were in person? So getting that sort of understanding so that we were reflective enough to make sure that, again, we were providing fidelity to the materials.
Great. Mr. Foster.
And again, fidelity of the material. But one of the things I really enjoyed, like sometimes we would get the material in advance. So we had a chance to review the material instead of like coming to a meeting, cold call, coming to a meeting and trying to work this material. So you had like a week before the meeting to like go over the material, review it. And then the other part of it was working with a team, working with a partner on the material. So where you can get another person's perspective and point of view from when we got to the meeting, the material was presented. Okay, now we can see how our point of view, not versus, but encompass other people's point of view. So we were able to drill down to, okay, this is how everybody brought it back to the table. Okay, now let's drill down to how we can make this most effective to work for everybody.
Well said. So, Mr. Foster, where do you see opportunities to make appropriate modifications and adaptations to materials that will truly impact communities of color?
Well, I think just the adaptation of it in itself is good. I think what has to happen, like I said, we have to look at folks' learning styles. That's the biggest key, because we all learn differently. And so I can't, expect someone to be on the level that I am. So now I have to, be open-mindedness is one of the really big keys, open-mindedness and willingness to adjust, because some things you have to adjust on the fly, and some things you just have to just take a step back and let it happen and be willing to allow the process to happen. So modification is great, but just being willing to, look at ways that it's been modified, adjust, and don't be so rigid, because this is what the outcome's supposed to be, but there's different ways to get to the outcome. There's more than one way to cross the street. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to get to.
So well said. So well said. Do you have anything to add to that, Charlene?
Yeah, sure. I would say that, because of typically how folks learn, or it's just their learning style and just how we build community, as African-American individuals, it's everything for us is just really relational. So making sure and talking through how we can get that across on a digital platform was one of the things where we talked about how we can have a voiceover or an individual that's on the screen, talking to you, that's, kind of bringing you through the materials. Again, it was one of those ways where we're capturing how can we make this relatable, especially with individuals that are coming in from a variety of experiences. Some may have quite a bit and some may not, some may be in the middle. And so really trying to transform the platform to work in a way that could work for anyone's learning style, such as what Cameron said.
Great, great. So Charlene, what considerations will be made to ensure that the materials are developed to be diverse, equitable, and inclusive?
So, I mean, there's things for us where we talked about making sure that if there are images that are on the site, that there are a diverse amount of images, photos, cartoon characters, again, it's something that I think a lot of times individuals don't think about, just because, we live in sort of this Eurocentric sort of world, and everything, even when you think about an emoji, right? Now emojis, you're able to put them in different colors. That's inclusivity to me. That's being intentional. And so with this platform, everything that we've thought about, we want to make sure that it's inclusive, and it is we're looking at the population that we're serving, that when they hear the voices or see the images, that they can see themselves.
And what do you have to add to that, Cameron?
Is the platform, and then also, like when she talked about communities, we looked at, okay, different communities do different, even though we may be African Americans, there's different styles and different ways things occur in the community. So we kind of like looked at those two, because just because we're all African American, we don't do everything the same way. So we kind of looked at that. Okay, this may happen, this may work in this community. Let's look how it's going to work in another community. So we kind of like, just didn't like one catch-all, phrase and group lump everybody together. And I think that we did a lot of work around it, which was made it real good. And like with the emojis, and then the Mr. Bill piece that was going to be added into the piece is real good, because it was relatable, and people can relate to it and things of that nature. So it makes it really good learning, and makes it enjoyable. Even with the emojis, like Charlene was saying, you can make those of color, things like that. We looked at a lot of different things, a lot of different ways, because we wanted to impact everyone and include everyone. So you got to, and I think that's what's the strength of the group. You know what I'm saying? Coming back together and say, maybe this will work here, this won't work, or let's try it like this. So I think the openness of the group made it inclusive as well.
Now, Mr. Foster, I have to bring up, you mentioned Mr. Bill, we just dated ourselves. For those of you who don't know, the Schoolhouse of Rock, Mr. Bill. Now, is it going to stay Mr. Bill, or is it going to be Mr. or Miss Prevention?
I'm just happy to be baby of that age group, have experienced that. And you got to go back sometime to bring things forward.
Yes, yes. So have the target population being affected be brought to the table to refine the materials?
I would say that this is something new. So with anything that is new, you have to bring the target population to the table. That's just, for Urban Underground, one of our mantras is nothing about us without us, meaning that, young people have to be brought to the table, right? So with that, seeing that this is something new, we have to roll it out in a way that, have some pilots, have some people test it out. Maybe some things that we thought would have worked, it's just like, oh, we missed the mark on that, right? And I think that's the beautiful part about this process. You have the opportunity to really see how it works in real time, and have some critical feedback so we can make it better for the audience that we're looking to acquire.
Well said, Mr. Foster.
Totally agree. You have to, if we worked at it for youth and things like that, you got to bring them to the table. You know what I'm saying? They'll tell you what works, what don't work, what they like, what they don't like. And the thing about it, once they bring that to us, we don't have to be defensive about it. Okay, well, we put all this time in, and we know, okay, because this affects them, and youth are going to be honest, and they're going to tell you the truth. And so you got to be willing and open to you might have to change midstream. So that's okay. Because it's a learning experience for us as well. And that's the beauty of it, because you can have them say, okay, maybe try it like this, or maybe look at it this way, or that just don't work, take that out. You know what I'm saying? So those are good things. And you can't put a youth program together and not involve them. I mean, you just can't do it. It just won't work because then that's your program, not their program. And you really want them to buy in from the beginning. So, okay, this is what we have. You open to suggestions, to changes. We ain't married to the project, you know what I'm saying? But, to be effective, give them some voice. And that gives them power. As we were talking about that empower our kids.
Yes, thank you. What did I tell you all? This was going to be an amazing podcast. Thank Cameron Foster and Charlene Moore. Any closing remarks that you two may have?
This was such a great opportunity just for me as an individual to be invited to the table, to be involved in this process. What I've learned have been immenseful. I've even shared this with other cohorts that I've been a part of to say, you have to really look at this model. It's amazing. And it's really helping us formulate some of our statewide work with the Department of Public Instruction that we're working with right now. It's a model that truly works. And so it's not just for Ohio, but it's something that could work across the board. So I'm just honored to have learned and have been a part of this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foster.
I'm honored just to be invited to the table to work alongside so many great people, meet so many great people, so many wonderful ideas. And it shows the transformation of teamwork, total work, teamwork approach that we were able to accomplish a goal coming from so diverse backgrounds and different settings. And so I'm really honored. I shared, with a couple other people. They like, okay, y'all did that. I said, this is what we were. Why you go to this meeting bi-monthly? I said, this is what the outcome of the meeting here. You'll see more of it. So everybody's looking to see the end results of this work. But I am just, I've learned a lot. It stretched me, and I like being stretched, learning new ways and new approaches and meeting new people as well. So it's a wonderful opportunity for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. So once again, today's topic, building from the ground up, sharing challenges and successes, as well as those adaptations for communities of color. Once again, let's thank our special guests, Cameron Foster and Charlene Moore. Thank you so kindly. Everyone have a great day.
Thank you for joining us today on the Ohio Adult Allies podcast. If you would like more information on our work, visit us at ohioadultallies.com. You can find more episodes on Spotify, iTunes, and other platforms by searching Ohio Adult Allies.